busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style.
Hi guys! Okay, so I just want to say a quick shout out to Jasmine for your notes for the feminine lecture that I missed. They totally helped me because without them I would have failed the exam tomorrow. So just wanted to say thank you very much. And yeah, so we're going to look over quickly what feminism is. And basically there's three types: classical, difference, and the radical one. So the classical believes in nurture, and then the difference means nature. So classical just means that they consider persons first and then they consider the genders later, which are primarily just because of culture. So they believe that culture shapes the gender. And it's like the pink and blue theory where little girls are dressed in pink, little boys are dressed in blue, Barbies versus cars, that kind of thing. And then the difference is for nature, so that means that they want equality for all, but they recognize the fact that women and men are mechanically different. Not just in their biology, but in their brains and mindset as well. The fact that women define themselves by attachment and men define themselves as independent is very big difference. And then a radical feminism is just when you think of feminism, you basically think of a man-eater, a man-basher, and that's just radical feminism, so it's a stereotype. And then we looked at the movie Mona Lisa Smiles, and that was a movie based on the stereotypes of the women in the 1950s who went to this college institute, but not to go into further education like becoming a lawyer or a doctor. They actually went there and just to get married. Like, that was their end goal, was to get married and have kids and have a house and let their husbands go to work. And the teacher tried to change that, and yeah, it's a pretty cool movie. So another cool fact that I learned during the feminism chapter was the fact that women weren't allowed to run marathons because they thought that it would affect their ability to have children. So that was pretty cool. Fun fact to learn. So we also looked at the fact that women are weak and apparently like non-educated because back then they weren't educated. So that when culture changes like this, like the fact that women can now go to school now, when culture changes like that, then women become smarter. So you can't really say that anymore. But back then, yeah, they were a lot dumber than men because they didn't have education like the men. They couldn't recall historical facts like men did because they were the only ones to go to school. So then we looked at authenticity. My bad. But authenticity is the only virtue. And it's the search for who you are, what you're going to be in life, and your personal calling. And then you have to accomplish everything yourself. So you can't have a role model because everything that you do, to be authentic, you need to be, it's personal. You have to accomplish it yourself. So we looked at a movie called Lord Jim, and it was just about a hero who, well, he's trained his whole life to be a hero. That's what he wants to do. That's his calling. But when it came time for him to step up, when he thought he was in a moment of danger, he abandoned ship, and he didn't even go to try to save people. He just jumped off the ship and went for himself, right? And yeah, so that was a little play on that. Then we looked at the contemporary continental philosophers, and they strived to find authenticity, and that was an existentialism, which is done by Jean-Paul Sartre. And we looked at Kierkegaard first, and he's the one that believed that you needed to have a personal relationship with God to be truly authentic. And he believed that angst was dreading the future decisions that you would have to make, and then you can't take shortcuts because borrowing other people's ideas or opinions or anything means that you're not finding your own true truth, and you must do that to be an authentic person. So he believed that there was three stages in life. The first one was aesthetic, which is what we were born with, the need for pleasure, the desires, and fulfilling them. And then the ethical was realizing rules and laws and being an ethical person. And then the final stage is the religious stage, where you just take a leap of faith into God and you judge yourself and you only have God as your it's just religious. And then Heidegger believed that authenticity deals with one's relationship to one's own form of existence. So and he also believed, well, it basically means you and the things around you are all flux, and you live in a universe and a world that is always changing, an ever-changing relationship between everything. So you need to know yourself and know your own form to be authentic, and you can't borrow forms from other people or anything. So that's how you are authentic. And angst to Heidegger is that it's your insecurity of not knowing where you stand in life and having to make decisions in the future. And then Jean-Paul Sartre was authenticity deals with one's relationship to oneself and as a person making moral choices. So he believed in bad faith. And bad faith was basically turning yourself into an object to... So for example, we had a woman who was on a date and the man touched her hand. And she didn't know if she liked the man or if she wanted to be with him or if she didn't like him and didn't want to be with him. She was uncertain. So she could hold his hand or let go of it. But instead, she turned herself into an object and just let her hand sit there. And that's bad faith because you're not making a decision. And that could be even more destructive than making a decision at all. So by letting others make decisions for you, you're turning yourself into an object, and that's not authentic. So you must have a personal choice with no role models. So free will equals authenticity, and bad faith is angst. And then that's what we looked at for that. And I think we're done. That's the review for my final exam. I hope I pass. Wish me luck. Okay, see you later. Bye.